Hello, my name is Patrice E. Turner, and I'm so delighted and excited to share with you a Christian practice that has been beneficial to me over the last couple of years since I have been introduced to it. The Christian practice that I would like to discuss and share with you is called the Examen. E-X-A-M-E-N. The Examen is a way to pray to God, and it's a format that you can use in a few different ways, but it's a Christian practice that has been used for over 500 years. It is attributed to the theologian, the writer, the scholar, St. Ignatius of Loyola. And St. Ignatius came up with one way, and there are several and many ways to kind of interpret the Examen, but he came up with one way for us to daily examine our lives and how God has moved through the day and has moved in our lives throughout our day. It is a reflective prayer that should encourage you to do something. So it's not just a prayer that gives you an opportunity to see how God has moved in your life and to understand how the many different ways in which God is speaking to you or is speaking to you through others, but it's also a way as you continue to practice the Examen, it is a way for you to know how to respond to God's movements. So when God is doing something in your life, it gives you a way and some insight into how you can share and respond and move and do on behalf of God. There's a book entitled A Simple Life-Changing Prayer that is by Manney. We read several chapters of it in our class. And this book breaks down all of the steps, gives you a bit of the history and the background, and it also breaks down the 5 steps of the Examen. It is a great book, an easy read, and I suggest that people try out Manney's A Simple Life-Changing Prayer. Jim shares that you should probably take 15 to 20 minutes to go through all of the steps of the Examen. When I was first introduced to the Examen, I actually learned how to do it by taking each of the steps one day at a time. And there were different scriptures that were aligned or that we read for each day, and we meditated on those scriptures so that by the time we had it completed an entire week, we had gone through all of the steps of the Examen. I prefer to actually take all 5 steps in one sitting. It gives you an opportunity to reflect throughout your day over a lot of different areas, and you'll see the more that you practice it, the more you will be able to see ways in which you have grown and changed as you continue to engage with the Examen. The 5 steps are: ask God for light, give thanks, review the day, face your shortcomings, and then look toward the day to come. I'll say those again. Ask God for light, give thanks, review the day, face your shortcomings, and look toward the day to come. To ask God for light means that you want to see your day through God's eyes, and that is not an easy task. We are human, we are finite, we have limited use of our brain. We are not that smart, we are not God, and we are not the creator. But if we take the time to kind of sit through and think through and ask God to show us through God's eyes and show us the light in the day, God will do exactly as we asked. The second step is to give thanks. Now, you can take your whole day, go throughout the day and give thanks for everything that you've experienced, the good, the bad, the ugly, the naughty, the great, the grateful, all of that, and give thanks. And if you fall asleep or you happen to just nod off or you don't feel like praying anymore, you have already engaged in a wonderful prayer practice of being grateful and giving thanks unto God. I can get stuck right there on that step. The third step is to review the day. So you take a good look at everything that you experienced throughout the entire day, and you give an account of it. So I love to have a journal next to me when I'm doing this. I'm usually doing it at night. You can do the Examen. You can pray the Examen in the daytime, in the middle of the day, in the morning, at noon, or in the evening. For me, I like to do it in the evening because I just found it to be very beneficial then. But you try not to rush this step. You go throughout your day. Maybe you have your planner next to you or your calendar, and you're looking at the things that God has brought you through. And then I also like to remember those moments when I engage with other people and see just things that weren't on my calendar, but see how God was using them and using me in those moments. Number 4, face your shortcomings. So this is where you go through and you think about the things where you something you did wrong or your sins, and you ask God for forgiveness, but don't get stuck here and don't beat yourself up. This is a moment of grace. Offer yourself grace at this time and try not to get really stuck here. For me, I've noticed that if there's something that I saw myself repeatedly doing, then I resolve the next day to try to do better. So if I'm rushing throughout the day and trying to rush people off of the phone, I try to take a moment and a beat to really deeply listen intentionally when I'm talking with them on the phone. Or if I'm rushing throughout the day because I'm trying to get here or there, I try to cut something out so that I can slow myself down. Step number 5, look forward and toward the next day. Ask God for peace, guidance, prayer, comfort, confidence, calm in some of the areas and things that you're going to be experiencing or that are on your calendar for the next day. And then you watch God move through those moments and watch God answer your prayers. So some of the things that you can use, you can sit in your quiet space or in your prayer closet. You can get the Centering app, which is a great app that will allow you to kind of set a time frame of 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It has nice ways to start the time and to end the time, and the sounds are not obtrusive. You can play some background music if you have some nice instrumental music or Zen, spa, nature sounds in the background. Those are great. Aromatic candles, if you have a special place you like to sit with your pillows, all of that is wonderful, and you should use whatever makes you comfortable within your prayer closet. Reminding yourself that when you do the exam and when you engage in this practice, what are you going to do for God? God has done so much for you, and you've given thanks and you're grateful for forgiveness, but then what will you do for God?